I purchased this recently released Asus NUC 15 Pro MiniPC. I bought it as a barebone, so it arrived with no SSD or RAM installed, so I had to purchase 64GB of RAM and a 4TB Samsung SSD drive separately. And these new NUCs, they have Intel Ultra 200 series processors, and in this video I just wanted to share with you how to install that RAM and SSD, how to install Windows on it, and also wanted to share some test results with you so you can see exactly how it performs. And this particular NUC has Intel Core Ultra 5 225H processor, and it has Intel Arc 130T integrated graphic card. And if you go for one with Ultra 7 processor, you will also get a bit better graphic card, as those will have Arc 140T. But for me, even this one is an overkill already for what I need. Let's do a very quick unboxing maybe first. What we have inside is a NUC itself, of course. We also have the VESA bracket, if you want to mount it, let's say, in the back of your monitor. And we've got also power supply. I found some papers and screws for that VESA bracket as well, when I checked later on. It has a single 2.5 gigabit per second Ethernet port, it has two Thunderbolt ports, two HDMI 2.1 ports, and this NUC also has newest Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4 connectivity. And it can accept up to 96 GB of DDR5 memory. And honestly, I could not find much information about performance of those NUCs with the Ultra 5 CPU, because most of the reviews were with Ultra 7 CPU. So I decided to run some tests on it and share them with you. But I had to first install that SSD and the memory, which is super easy here, because this NUC comes with toolless case, which means you don't even need a screwdriver. You can open the case by simply pulling that little latch at the bottom of the case, and that's what's the inside of the case, what it looks like. You can see the Wi-Fi 7 card, and you can see that indeed there is no SSD or no memory installed currently. So to install the SSD, you simply slide it in and you use that little blue locking mechanism so it doesn't move. That's all you need to do. And the RAM, you will find standard brackets for RAM, and so it's not NUC specific. You just slide them in and you push down to lock. That's all you need to do. These brackets will automatically lock the memory modules. So the NUC is now ready. And I decided to install Windows 11, because even though the plan is to run Proxmox on it later on, but I think installing Windows first makes more sense for those testing purposes. And to install Windows 11, I powered the device on and I kept pressing the F2 button to enter the BIOS, just to check what's the configuration of that BIOS. And the only thing that didn't look correct was the time, so I had to adjust the time, and everything else seemed to be configured okay for Windows installation. Maybe one thing to mention, that there is a setting in boot configuration, it says boot USB devices first. I didn't tick that option, even though I created Windows installation USB drive with Windows Creation Tool, and I inserted it to the USB port. That's basically what you do. You use the Creation Tool, you put the Windows on USB stick, you slide that in, and this is how it's supposed to boot. But I didn't tick this option, I instead rebooted this mini PC, and I kept pressing the F10 button. The F10 button will trigger the boot options, and that's how you can start the installer from USB, by pressing the F10 button after powering up your mini PC. And you have to follow standard Windows installation guide. However, I came across a problem during the installation, because this device uses new Wi-Fi card, that Wi-Fi 7 I mentioned. And the Windows installer had no Wi-Fi drivers available. And the other thing, connecting Ethernet cable does not help either, as installer does not have drivers available for that network interface card. So I was basically stuck at this point, so I had to go to Asus website, I had to download the driver package. I mean, on the main page you can put the serial number of your device, it will point you to correct drivers, and basically you could just download the LAN and wireless driver if you want, but I decided to download the entire driver pack, because I wasn't sure what else is missing, or what might have been missing after I finish my installation. And then basically you copy that file to another USB drive, so I inserted second USB drive into my mini PC, and then I had to point the installer to that folder on that second USB. I had to point this installer to this driver pack. So just a little hiccup, but nothing major. And this is just an overview from Geekbench 6 benchmark. You can see we are indeed running Windows 11. I've got 64GB of memory. The processor is Ultra 5 225H. which has 14 cores, and we can also see that Intel Arc 130T GPU. And the results for the processor, we've got 2662 for a single core, and we've got 13,635 for a multi-core. And please bear in mind, these are the results with no changes in BIOS and in Windows. This is basically as if you just took it out of the box, installed the Windows, and no other changes were done. And now the GPU for OpenCL is exactly 36,000 points. Now the Cinebench, I believe these results are amazing really. A single core has a score of 120, which is more than Apple M1 Max processor. And we can see also how much faster it is from the 12th generation Intel Core i7. So definitely happy with that. But for multi-core, I think it's also fine. We've got 929 points, which places it between Ryzen 7 5800 and Ryzen Threadripper 2990WX 32-core processor. And next is the noise. Maybe let me pause for a while, I want you to listen to that. So as you can hear, yes, it can be noisy, and I kind of expected that. The truth is, I've been waiting for Asus to create a case for that, because they are like Asus partners. They create great passive cases for these NUCs, and I asked them the question if they're gonna be one for this NUC 15 box. And they said yes, they are going to release it very shortly, so maybe when you watch this video, maybe one is already available. So I will definitely upgrade to that case once they release them. But on the other hand, this noise isn't really annoying. It's not squeaky, or even though the fan is pretty small, the noise is acceptable, I would say. And in normal operation, I noticed it draws like between 14 up to 60 watts from the grid, but for the Cinebench for multi-core test, it was basically just sitting at 80 watt power draw. So that's pretty significant. And the noise was still not that bad, so cooling this little device, I think this cooling system is fine. This is some more information from CPU Z, if you are interested in more detailed information. That's from HWInfo, and these are the temperatures during those tests. It's not bad, I think. 43 minimum, 62 maximum for the CPU, and you can see the RAM is fine, 45 degrees. And I was a bit worried about that SSD, because I remember when it was released, a lot of reviews were complaining about the very high temperatures this drive usually operates at. Like it can get very, very hot. But here I couldn't see that problem. But the fact is, this case has a little thermal pad for the SSD, so I believe it simply does the job, because the max temperature was 48 degrees. And these are the results for that SSD. As we can see, we are not far from reaching the limit of the PCI Express 4.0, which is in theory 8 gig per second, but in practice it's never exactly 8, yes. I am quite impressed. It's more than enough for my use case. These results are great. And now the 3D Mark, still Nomad test. We get 3047 points. Then I wasn't sure what to expect from the graphic card, so I started with Street Fighter 4 Ultra. I set resolution to Full HD, the maximum quality, either high or extreme, whatever was available. And when running the test, I know it's older title, but I got average frame per second 80. So 80 frame per second is more than enough. So this integrated chip is definitely fine to run older games. But what about something more demanding, like Cyberpunk? So I set again Full HD resolution, most other settings left either high or ultra, and I ran the benchmark. And I had around 22-23 frames per second, but honestly, I was surprised it runs at all. I remember this title was very demanding when it was first released, and I first installed it on my GeForce RTX 3070, if I remember right, but that was dedicated graphic card. Here we are talking about the integrated graphic card, yes? The fact that it runs Cyberpunk at all, for me, that's a success. That's all I wanted to share today with you, but please remember to join our Automation Avenue Academy if you want to learn more about computer networking, about Python programming, maybe cloud, many different subjects like a DevOps, network admin and cloud related. So I hope to see you there. Thank you for watching.